Hello everyone, welcome to Patch Preview, where today we'll be going over some of the stuff planned for Destiny Patch 1.1.1 coming sometime in February. The big notes that came in recently were with regard to weapon balance. Recently, Bungie's weekly update showed some information on what weapon types were being used in PvE and PvP by the best players. Unsurprisingly, the world is dominated by auto rifles in PvP, although in PvE, there's a slightly more even spread of auto rifles, scout rifles, and hand cannons, although auto rifles are still at the top. Also unsurprisingly, Suros Regime is the most dominant of the auto rifle class, to the point where 20% of kills by top players were performed using Suros during Iron Banner. 6 of the top 10 weapons in Crucible are auto rifles. Not only were they dominant in PvP, but they were also very good in PvE, being effective for everything, having the highest raw DPS on average. Bungie says that they want you to be able to deliver a steady stream of precision damage with an auto rifle, and you still can, but you'll need to get a little bit closer. Changes coming to the auto rifle class are as follows. Base damage has been reduced by 2.5%, although the bullet hose auto rifles, aka the ones with high rates of fire, were affected less so. Range values were also reduced so that damage drop-off is a stronger factor in combat decisions, making the range stat much more critical for long-distance engagements. I didn't think PvE autos were particularly overpowered, but I can see why the nerfs are happening. PvP, it's pretty much a no-brainer. Suros is still easily the most dominant weapon in the game from all ranges, despite numerous nerfs already. Most other low rate of fire autos were also incredibly efficient. Bullet hose autos have their own problems though, I would like to see them buffed. These nerfs also make the range stat actually somewhat important, at least that is the intention, which is good because for months the range stat has been one of the most unimportant, overlooked stats in Destiny. There are only very rarely situations where players experience damage drop-off, besides using shotguns, so this makes it a stat that's actually valued. Moving to pulse rifles, we all know what the problem is with pulse rifles. They suck. Their damage is poor and there aren't many good ones out there. Pulse rifles accounted for a mere 2% of kills in Crucible from those surveyed, and only 6% for story PvE missions. The goal of the pulse rifle is to be that premium mid-range weapon with combat effectiveness still possible and effective at close or longer ranges. The change coming to the pulse rifle is simple, a base damage increase of 9.7%, which should hopefully put pulse rifles more in line with other primary weapons. This is a great change. I don't think anyone is going to complain about pulse rifles getting buffed. They were needed very badly. Next up are hand cannons. Hand cannons are in a pretty good place overall, rewarding paced shooting over fast shooting over a close to medium distance. However, they were a little too good at long distances, acting like scout rifles or even sniper rifles at times. Changes coming to the hand cannon are as follows. Effective range has been reduced, damage fall-off starts closer to the shooter, with follow-up shots being less accurate at long ranges, with slight reduction to initial accuracy. Note that these changes really only affect the hand cannon's long to very long distance capabilities. Barely any, if any at all, of these changes will be noticeable in the close to medium range. While I didn't see this change coming, I can't say that it's completely unreasonable because it totally is reasonable. I was often able to snipe people from crazy distances using my Hawkmoon, making it impossible for other players to even retaliate over such a long distance. I think this is a totally fair nerf given how the weapon should be utilized. Let's move to fusion rifles. Fusion rifles reward very tactical play, based on predicting enemy movement, timing your charge, and controlling recoil. They are the most unpopular weapon to be killed by, but one of the most satisfying to kill with. However, it was pretty easy to find a very fast, highly accurate fusion rifle to bring with you into the Crucible, combined with the fact that it's so easy to find ammo for special weapons. You never need to use the weapon in a special situation, you could just use it all the time. Changes coming to the fusion rifle are as follows. Blast patterns are getting slightly wider, and initial starting ammo is reduced across all ammo stats, primarily affecting the Crucible. With fusion rifle blast patterns getting wider, this will make those medium to medium long range kills a little more difficult to perform, but it does enhance the weapon's ability to deal damage to multiple enemies at once. That's mainly a PvE effect. In Crucible, you'll start with less ammo than you usually do when you first spawn in. Initial starting ammo values are only used when first logging into the game and for each new round of Crucible, so this will not affect PvE in any way besides the very first time that you log into Destiny per play session. Shotguns are up next. While shotguns dominate the close-range PvP scene with weapons like Found Verdict, Secret Handshake, and Invective ruling the fields, they are absolute garbage in PvE. Shotguns are the second most lethal weapons behind auto rifles for the Crucible of the weapons and people surveyed, but in PvE, a mere 1% of kills are performed with a shotgun. Therefore, shotguns are getting a PvE buff and a PvP nerf. Changes coming to the shotgun are as follows. Damage is increased by 100% against all non-guardians, aka all PvE targets, with high-end range values being reduced, having damage fall off sooner. The first change, very basic, shotguns will now deal double the damage that you're used to them doing outside of the Crucible. But their range is getting a little bit nerfed, so those with long-distance kill-capable shotguns might need to get a little bit closer to kill their target with one shot. I have no problem with these changes. I'm mainly interested in the PvE changes coming, and I'm hoping it'll make the risk versus reward battle a little more even with regards to using a shotgun. Finally, scout rifles, snipers, heavy machine guns, and rocket launchers will remain unchanged. Overall, these weapon changes look pretty fair to me, nothing outrageous or unwarranted. A lot of people seem to think that Bungie, and by extension all developers, nerfs weapons just to say, F you, fans of our game, suck it, we nerf your favorite weapons because we hate you. And this cannot be farther from the truth. These changes seek to bring balance to all the weapon classes and types, making it so those who choose certain weapon types will still remain as effective as others, giving people the choice to play with what they actually want to play with instead of what is best. They also seek to make certain weapons better than others for certain situations, giving your arsenal more variety instead of being able to use just one weapon for everything or having one weapon be strong for all scenarios. I'm excited to use stuff like Red Death and Swordbreaker in PvE. I've wanted to use them for a while now, but they were just never good enough to warrant using over other things. Maybe now they will be. Anyway guys, that is your patch preview for 1.1.1 coming sometime in February. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.